After 22 years modifying motorcycles professionally, I'm finally exposing 17 of the smartest mods the motorcycle industry deliberately keeps off your radar to protect their upgrade and service department profits. These aren't complicated builds. These are simple, affordable modifications that deliver more performance, better protection, and years of additional life without spending thousands at a mechanic shop. The last mod on this list is a 20-minute modification that costs $15 and helps prevent one of the most common causes of catastrophic engine failure. You'll thank us later. Number 17. Foam grip covers grip puppies. Factory rubber motorcycle grips are incredibly thin, hard, and unforgiving. If you possess large hands or suffer from joint pain, wrapping your fingers tightly around a thin, hard rubber tube for hours forces your hand into an unnatural cramped position. Your knuckles ache and the engine vibrations fatigue your joints. You do not need to cut off your factory grips and glue on expensive replacements. You simply slide on a set of high-density foam grip covers, commonly known as grip puppies. These UV-resistant foam sleeves slide directly over your existing factory grips. They slightly increase the overall diameter of the grip, allowing your hand to rest in a much more open, natural, and relaxed position. The thick foam acts as a massive secondary vibration dampener, soaking up engine buzz before it hits your skin. They cost $15. Take literally 1 minute to install using soapy water and make your motorcycle feel like a luxury touring machine. We saved your hands, but what happens when you need to access your battery on the side of the road? The factory setup is a complete nightmare. Number 16 fixes a massive engineering oversight. Number 16, quick release seat pins. Accessing the storage compartment, the battery, or the fuse box under your motorcycle seat should be an instant, effortless process. Yet manufacturers insist on bolting the rider's seat down with 2 annoying Allen head bolts hidden deep under the rear fairing. If your battery dies or you blow a fuse on the side of the road in the dark, you are forced to dig out a specific hex key and blindly fiddle with tight bolts just to reach your electrical system. You can fix this annoying design flaw by replacing those factory bolts with quick release seat pins. These are highly engineered, stainless steel locking pins featuring a push-button release mechanism. You install the receiving bracket once, and from that point forward, removing your seat requires 0 tools. You simply reach under the tail, press the button, and the pin slides out. You can access your battery, your registration documents, and your toolkit in 2 seconds flat. It makes roadside troubleshooting fast, efficient, and stress-free. Seat access is sorted, but what if a distracted driver drifts into your lane? You cannot rely on the pathetic factory buzzer to save your life. Number 15, wakes them up instantly. Number 15, upgraded compact air horn. The factory horn on almost every motorcycle is a tragic joke. It emits a pathetic, high-pitched noise that sounds exactly like a dying cartoon bird. When a distracted driver in a massive, sound-insulated sports utility vehicle starts drifting blindly into your lane while texting, tapping that pathetic factory horn will not save you. They simply cannot hear it over their stereo and their air conditioning. Your horn is a critical safety device, and it needs an immediate upgrade. Ditch the weak factory disc horn and install a compact, high-decibel motorcycle air horn. These units are incredibly compact, but pack a built-in compressor that blasts a terrifying 120 decibel roar. It sounds exactly like a massive semi-truck. When you hit this upgraded horn, distracted drivers do not just hear you, they physically feel the sound wave. They drop their phones and swerve back into their lane instantly. Being loud saves lives. We fixed your horn, but what is destroying your expensive radiator right now? You are blindly firing rocks directly into your cooling system. Number 14, acts as an invisible shield. Number 14, front fender extender. Take a close look at the massive, incredibly expensive liquid cooling radiator hanging off the front of your engine block. Now look at how incredibly short the factory front plastic fender is. Manufacturers design front fenders to look sharp and sporty, completely ignoring pragmatic protection. As you ride down the highway, your sticky front tire picks up thousands of tiny rocks, gravel chunks, and road debris. It slings that debris backward at highway speeds, acting like a machine gun firing directly into your fragile aluminum radiator fins and your painted engine block. Over time, your radiator gets crushed, reducing cooling efficiency, or worse, a large rock punctures a coolant tube, leaving you stranded in a cloud of sweet-smelling white smoke. Protect your engine by installing a front fender extender. This is a molded piece of durable plastic that attaches seamlessly to the bottom trailing edge of your factory front fender, extending it downward by several inches. It catches all the rocks, dirt, and water spray thrown by the front tire, keeping your radiator pristine. The engine is protected from rocks. But what happens when you park on hot asphalt? A tiny factory component is secretly plotting to drop your machine. Number 13, prevents a heartbreaking crash. Number 13, kickstand footprint enlarger. You finally arrive at your destination after a long summer ride. You pull into a gravel parking lot, a grassy field, or a freshly paved asphalt driveway on a 90-degree day. You kick the side stand down, hop off the motorcycle, and walk away. 5 minutes later, you hear a sickening crash. You turn around to find your pristine motorcycle lying on its side, the fairings shattered and the turn signals crushed, and the small, narrow metal footprint of a factory kickstand, ACTS, exactly like a stiletto heel. When the weight of a 500-pound motorcycle rests on that tiny point, it easily punches right through soft dirt, hot asphalt, or wet grass. The kickstand sinks and the bike tips over. Prevent this heartbreaking disaster by bolting on a kickstand footprint enlarger. This is a wide, flat piece of machined aluminum that bolts securely over the bottom of your side stand. It vastly increases the surface area of the footprint, distributing the weight of the motorcycle across a much larger section of the ground. Parking is secure, but why is your gas tank boiling your fuel in heavy traffic? You are literally roasting yourself alive on the highway. Number 12, uses aerospace technology to cool you down. Number 12, heat reflective tape under the seat. Motorcycles are essentially massive engines that you straddle. On modern sport bikes and heavy touring cruisers, the rear cylinder or the catalytic converter sits directly underneath the rider's seat and the gas tank. In heavy, stop-and-go summer traffic, that extreme engine heat radiates upward. It boils the fuel in your gas tank, and it literally roasts your inner thighs to the point of sheer agony. You can drastically cool down your cockpit by utilizing aerospace technology. Purchase a roll of gold or silver heat-reflective adhesive tape. This is the exact same thermal barrier tape utilized by Formula One race cars and spacecraft. Remove your motorcycle seat and gas tank. Apply the heat-reflective tape entirely across the underside of the gas tank and the plastic undertray beneath your seat. This metallic tape physically reflects radiant heat away from the rider and back down toward the pavement. Your fuel stays significantly cooler, and your thighs are no longer subjected to a slow-roasting barbecue. Your seat is cool, but what causes your hands to go numb on the highway? The factory engineers completely ignored high-frequency vibrations. Number 11, cures the buzz permanently. Number 11, anti-vibration bar end weights. If you ride a high-revving inline-four sports bike, a massive single-cylinder dual sport, or a parallel twin commuter, you know the misery of handlebar vibration. Riding on the highway for an hour sends high-frequency buzz directly through the grips and into your hands. Your fingers go completely numb, your forearms ache, and your rearview mirrors vibrate so heavily they become useless blurs. Most riders try to fix this by wearing thicker gloves, which ruins their tactile control of the throttle. The actual scientific solution is changing the resonant frequency of the handlebars. The factory bar ends on your motorcycle are usually cheap, lightweight plastic caps designed strictly for cosmetics. Replace those plastic caps with heavy, stainless steel, or brass anti-vibration bar end weights. By adding physical mass to the very ends of the handlebars, you completely alter the vibration harmonics. The heavy weights absorb and dampen those high-frequency engine buzzes before they ever reach your palms. And your hands stay relaxed, the numbness disappears, and your rearview mirrors suddenly provide a crystal-clear image. Your hands are smooth, but bleeding your brakes remains a two-person nightmare. You no longer need to scream at a friend across the garage. Number 10 turns it into a 5-minute solo job. We are exposing the hidden secrets of the garage. Are you currently wasting money on dealership service fees for basic maintenance? Tell me your worst repair bill in the comments below. And if you demand the grease-stained truth to save your wallet, smash that subscribe button right now. Let us fix your brakes. Number 10, speed bleeder valves for brake fluid. Motorcycle brake fluid is highly hygroscopic, meaning it constantly absorbs moisture from the atmosphere. After 2 years, that moisture boils under heavy braking, causing your brake lever to feel like a mushy sponge. Changing your brake fluid is mandatory, but bleeding the brakes using the traditional method is a tedious, messy, two-person job involving a wrench, a hose, and constant frustration. You can completely revolutionize your garage maintenance by replacing your factory bleeder nipples with speed bleeders. A speed bleeder looks exactly like a normal bleeder valve, but it contains a brilliant internal spring-loaded one-way check valve. To bleed your brakes, you simply attach a clear hose to the nipple. Crack the speed, bleeder open a quarter of a turn, and start pumping your brake lever. The internal check valve opens to let the old fluid and trapped air bubbles out, but instantly snaps shut when you release the lever, preventing any air from being sucked back into the caliper. You can flush your entire braking system perfectly by yourself in under 5 minutes. Brakes are fresh, but checking tire pressure ruins your knuckles. Stop fighting the tight clearance of your front brake rotors. Number 9, saves your hands from heavy brake dust. Number 9, 90-degree valve stems for easy inflation. Checking your tire pressure is the single most important safety check you must perform before every ride. Running your tires 10 PS, I2 low completely destroys the handling geometry and heavily increases the risk of a high-speed blowout. Yet most riders skip this crucial step because checking the pressure is incredibly annoying. The factory installs straight rubber valve stems pointing directly toward the center of the wheel hub. If you ride a sports bike with massive dual front brake rotors, trying to squeeze a standard air chuck or a bulky tire pressure gauge between the dirty brake calipers and the rigid spokes is infuriating. You end up bending the rubber stem, leaking air everywhere, and covering your hands in brake dust. The next time you get your tires changed, hand your mechanic a set of aluminum's 90-degree valve stems and ask them to install them. These stems bolt securely to the rim and angle the inflation point straight out to the side of the wheel. You can check your pressure in seconds without ever fighting the brake rotors again. The tires are inflated, but you cannot read your gauges at midnight. Staring at dim halogen bulbs causes massive eye fatigue. Number 8, lights up the dark with absolute clarity. Number 8, LED gauge. Lighting for night clarity. If you ride a motorcycle built before 2015, chances are the dashboard gauges are illuminated by cheap, old-school incandescent halogen bulbs. During the day, they are fine. But when you are carving a dark, unlit mountain road at midnight, staring down at a dim, yellowish, unevenly lit speedometer is incredibly frustrating. It causes severe eye fatigue and forces you to take your eyes off the road for way too long just to check your speed or engine temperature. Modernize your cockpit instantly by swapping those ancient halogens for crisp, bright LED wedge bulbs. Taking apart the gauge cluster usually requires removing a few screws on the back of the instrument panel. You pull out the old glass bulbs and push the new LEDs directly into the factory sockets. The difference is night and day. You can choose a crisp, pure white light for absolute clarity, or swap in deep red or cool blue LEDs to completely customize the aesthetic of your dashboard. The dash is bright, but a microscopic rubber cap is secretly causing your engine to stall. You are chasing expensive fueling issues for no reason. Number 7, permanently cures phantom vacuum leaks. Number 7, silicone vacuum caps to prevent leaks. This is the cheapest, most effective reliability modification you can do to any older motorcycle. Your engine relies on a complex network of small rubber vacuum lines and caps to route air properly, operate the fuel petcock, and sync the throttle bodies. The factory uses standard black rubber for these caps. Here's the problem. Standard rubber hates thermal heat, and it hates the ozone. After a few seasons of sitting above a boiling hot engine block, those rubber vacuum caps harden, crack, and split wide open. Suddenly, your engine is sucking unmetered air directly into the intake manifold. Your motorcycle starts idling erratically, stalling at stoplights, and running dangerously lean. You will spend hours chasing your tail trying to diagnose a dying fuel pump or a clogged injector, when the real culprit is a cracked 2-cent rubber cap. Purchase a pack of high-heat silicone vacuum caps online. Silicone is incredibly resilient. It does not degrade under extreme engine temperatures. Replace every single rubber cap on your intake manifolds to bulletproof your engine against vacuum leaks. The engine runs smooth, but taking the gas tank off remains a messy disaster. Removing those stubborn hoses ruins your entire afternoon in the garage. And number 6, stops the spilled gasoline instantly. Number 6, inline fuel filters with quick disconnect fittings. If you ride an older carbureted motorcycle or a modern dirt bike, you know the misery of removing the gas tank. To change your spark plugs, check your valve clearances, or inspect your air filter, that massive fuel tank has to come off. Dealing with old hardened rubber fuel lines stretched over tight brass petcock nipples is a nightmare. You pull, You twist, the hose tears, and suddenly you are covered in a gallon of raw, highly flammable gasoline. You can eliminate this headache forever by installing an inline fuel filter with built-in quick disconnect fittings. You simply splice this device directly into the middle of your main fuel line. It serves two brilliant purposes. First, the clear inline filter catches rust flakes and debris from the gas tank before they can reach your carburetors. Second, the quick disconnect fitting features an internal shutoff valve. When you press the metal tab, the fuel line separates instantly, and the internal valve snaps shut, preventing a single drop of gasoline from spilling. Maintenance is easy, but dropping your bike breaks your expensive levers. A harmless parking lot mistake should never trigger a massive towing bill. Number 5, ensures you always ride home safely. We are entering the top 5 modifications. Are you learning the mechanical tricks that dealerships want to keep hidden? Hit the like button right now to support the resistance. Let us bulletproof your controls and your engine. Number 5, folding levers that prevent ride-ending damage. There are two types of motorcycle riders in the world: those who have dropped their bikes in a parking lot and those who are going to. Dropping your motorcycle at 0 miles per hour is embarrassing, but the real tragedy happens when the bike hits the asphalt and snaps the rigid factory clutch or brake lever clean off. Now, a harmless tip over has left you completely stranded. You cannot shift gears and you cannot ride home. You are waiting hours for an expensive tow truck over a broken piece of cheap cast aluminum. Throw the rigid factory levers in the garbage and install a set of folding levers. So these levers feature a mechanical hinge in the center of the blade. And when the motorcycle hits the ground, the lever simply folds upward at a 90-degree angle instead of snapping in half. You just pick the bike up, flip the lever back down, dust off your ego, and ride home comfortably. The levers survive, but microscopic metal shavings are violently grinding inside your transmission. Your standard paper oil filter cannot stop this hidden destruction. Number 4, catches the debris before it ruins the motor. Number 4, magnetic drain plugs for engine protection. Your engine might be tearing itself apart right now, and you won't even know. Every time you shift gears, every time you bounce off the rev limiter, and every time you cold start your motorcycle, microscopic shavings of steel and metal flake off the internal transmission gears and cylinder walls. Your paper oil filter catches the large chunks, but the microscopic metal dust circulates freely through the engine, acting like liquid sandpaper on your bearings. The factory drain plug at the bottom of your oil pan is just a cheap, standard steel bolt. Replace it with an aftermarket magnetic drain plug. These plugs feature an incredibly powerful neodymium magnet pressed directly into the tip. As the hot engine oil circulates and falls to the bottom of the oil pan, this powerful magnet pulls all those microscopic steel shavings entirely out of circulation. The next time you execute an oil change, you will pull the magnetic plug out and find it covered in a thick metallic fuzz. The oil is clean, but heavy braking throws your entire body weight straight into the handlebars. You are destroying your steering geometry every single time you stop. Number 3, locks you into the chassis perfectly. Number 3, tank grip pads for improved braking stability. When inexperienced riders look at tank grips, they assume it is just a cosmetic modification designed to make a street bike look like a factory race machine. That is a massive misconception. Tank grips are one of the most important ergonomic and performance modification you can put on a motorcycle. Here's the strict mechanical reality. Your hands are for steering and operating the controls, not for holding your heavy body weight. When you grab a massive handful of front brake at highway speeds, your forward kinetic momentum throws your entire body toward the dashboard. To stop yourself from sliding forcefully into the gas tank, you automatically lock out your elbows and push heavily against the handlebars. This is a critical error. Pushing on the bars transfers all your upper body weight directly into the front tire, destroys your delicate cornering geometry, and causes massive wrist pain and severe arm pump after just 20 minutes of riding. When you install high-quality tank grips, the thick, textured rubber locks firmly into the fabric of your riding pants or leathers. During heavy braking or steep downhill descents, you simply squeeze your knees firmly against the tank. The grips hold your lower body perfectly in place like a mechanical vise. Your strong core muscles support your weight, leaving your arms completely loose and relaxed on the handlebars. You can steer with surgical precision. Your posture is perfect, but twisting the throttle requires dropping your elbow to an awkward angle. The factory forces you to work entirely too hard for maximum power. Number 2, makes acceleration instantaneous. Number 2, throttle tube, upgrades for better response. The factory throttle on most middleweight and beginner motorcycles is notoriously lazy. Manufacturers intentionally design them with a very long throw to protect absolute novices from whiskey throttling into a ditch. But for experienced riders, this means you must physically twist your wrist incredibly far down just to hit wide open throttle. In a spirited canyon carving session or a fast highway merge, having to completely drop your elbow and contort your wrist just to get full engine power absolutely ruins your body positioning. It forces you to awkwardly re-grip the handlebars mid-corner, completely unsettling the motorcycle suspension. The secret hack to fixing this slop is upgrading the cheap plastic throttle tube hiding under your rubber grip. If you ride a standard Japanese motorcycle, the legendary R6 throttle tube mod is an absolute game changer. The Yamaha YZF R6 is a dedicated track weapon, and its factory throttle tube is engineered with a slightly larger internal cam diameter where the steel throttle cables physically wrap around. By increasing this diameter, it creates a true quick-turn throttle. By spending a mere $15 on an original equipment Yamaha R6 throttle tube and sliding it onto your standard Suzuki, Honda, or Kawasaki, you instantly shorten the required wrist twist to reach maximum power. The engine wakes up immediately and the throttle response becomes snappy without spending a single dime on expensive electronic engine tuning. The throttle snaps, but sitting in heavy traffic violently destroys your left forearm. You are enduring agonizing muscle cramps for absolutely no reason. The ultimate modification sits at number 1 to save your clutch hand. Number 1, clutch arm extensions for lighter lever pull. Let us tackle the absolute bane of urban commuting, the heavy cable clutch. If you ride an older motorcycle or a massive heavyweight cruiser, sitting in brutal stop-and-go traffic is a guaranteed forearm workout. You are forced to hold that stiff lever against the handlebar at every single red light. After 45 minutes of constantly feathering a heavy clutch lever through gridlock, your left hand starts to cramp, your tendons burn, and your gear shifts become sloppy and dangerous. Your hand simply gives out. Dealerships will tell you to spend hundreds of dollars on a full hydraulic clutch conversion kit. They want you buying expensive master cylinders, braided steel lines, and paying for hours of dealership labor just to bleed the fluid system. Ignore them entirely. The smartest riders bypass the expensive hydraulic upgrade and install a clutch arm extension. This is a tiny, simple piece of machined aluminum that bolts directly onto the splined clutch actuator arm, sitting exposed on top of your engine cases. By physically lengthening the actuator arm by just an inch or two, you completely alter the mechanical leverage. It is basic middle school physics. A longer lever requires significantly less physical effort to pull the heavy internal clutch springs. Installing this $20 piece of metal takes exactly 5 minutes with a basic wrench. It might even reduce your clutch lever pull weight. Your heavy, agonizing clutch turns to absolute butter. You can slip the friction zone with a single finger all day long, navigating tight parking lots without any hand fatigue. And there is a video coming up on your left. Click it. I will catch you there.